Hey guys, this section is kind of a fun little section. I think you'll find that it's pretty easy, and I'll give you a little bit of a break this week. I know we've done some pretty challenging things in recent times, and I think you'll find this one to be easy. This is 5.4, Correlation and Causation. All right, what that means, correlation is when we look at a scatter plot and we see that two things are related. Like, for example, football players' height and weight. As they get taller, they tend to get heavier, right? That's a positive correlation. And it's also causation, because taller people have more body mass, so they end up weighing more. Those two things are related. But sometimes there can be correlations that don't actually make sense, okay? And so I want to show you some examples of those, okay? Think of these as Pinterest posts. These are correlations that don't really have anything in common. For example, this first one here, there is definitely a correlation between the per capita consumption of cheese and the number of people who died by becoming tangled in their bed sheets. There is a correlation. You can see they're very closely graphed together. However, I don't think there's a connection or a causation between how much cheese people eat and how many people die. How do you die getting tangled in your bed sheets? How do you even do that? Here's another one. People who drowned after falling out of a fishing boat versus the marriage rate in Kentucky. Yes, definitely a correlation, but no causation. Well, I don't think there's a causation. This was an interesting little article I found. And this one actually, they are suggesting that there's a causation here, potentially. Children who eat too much candy are more likely to be arrested for violent behavior as adults. Apparently, there was a study. They studied 17,000 children born in 1970 for about 40 years. Of the children who ate candies or chocolates daily at age 10, 69% were later arrested for a violent offense by the age of 34. Of those who didn't have any violent clashes, 42% ate sweets daily. So they're kind of trying to say, you shouldn't be giving your kids lots of snacks because they'll end up in prison. A pirate shortage caused global warming. Yep, we're running out of pirates and global warming is going up. Check it out. Yep. It's a correlation. Yes, the number of pirates is dwindling and the average global temperature is increasing, but the two concepts are not related. Ice cream consumption leads to murder. In the summer months, as ice cream consumption goes up, so do murder rates. Are they related? Well, they are related because they're both caused by heat, but they're not related to each other, okay? So they occur at the same time, which is why there's a correlation, but one doesn't cause the other one. Okay, so I'm very fond of telling you that mathematics is the subject most closely tied to future earning potential. Well, check this little baby out here. I am right. There is a correlation between mathematics and higher earning potential. This is a graph that shows the college majors and their median starting salary and after so many years or what have you. So let's have a look at these top careers. Ooh, look at all the engineering, economics, physics, computer science, industrial engineering, mechanical engineering, math, physician's assistant, civil engineering. All of these take a real good knowledge of math. All of these people have to get through calculus and other mathematical classes to get these degrees. So they're all very math-based. Here's the sad part. Look down here. I fear I've made a terrible mistake. Okay, keep doing your math work first. It's going to be the most important on your paycheck later. Here's another interesting one. This one has correlation and causation. Years of education versus income, okay? The more education you have, the more money you make, all right? It reaches a point, though, where it drops off because once you've got so many years of education, people aren't willing to pay any more for it. It's like, okay, so you've got 3 doctor's degrees. I'm still paying you for 1, all right? Okay, so you can see that this is going to be a pretty simple chapter. You have to determine, is there a correlation by using a scatter plot? Or, in this case, since we're virtual, scatter plots are hard to make. We might just look at the data and determine if we see a correlation. And then we have to decide, is it causation? Is one thing causing the other thing or not? Pretty easy. You guys will have a blast with this. Causation occurs when a change in one variable produces a change in another variable. It's the relationship between cause and effect. Correlation, however, can be observed between many variables. So when we're doing this, they want you to graph the ordered pairs to create a scatter plot. Hey, if you've got graph paper laying around at home, you go. Determine whether the scatter plot shows a positive or negative correlation. Determine whether the two sets of data are related. Does one cause the other? You got to be careful here, though, because sometimes the two things are both caused by the same thing, but the one's not causing the other one. Okay, so I'll show you some examples. And then decide if the data illustrate correlation and or causation. Okay. So here we have an example. The data show the per capita consumption of mozzarella cheese. Hang on a second. Sorry, even when the kids aren't here, the phone still rings. Okay, so this is the consumption of mozzarella cheese and the number of civil engineering doctoral degrees awarded in the United States. Do you really think there's some kind of a cause between eating mozzarella cheese and doctoral whatever? So they graph the data for you. Step 1, determine the correlation. It does seem to have a positive correlation. As the consumption of mozzarella cheese goes up, so do the engineering PhDs. Okay, so that shows a positive correlation. Consumption of mozzarella cheese consumption of mozzarella will not cause anyone to obtain a doctoral degree in civil engineering. These two sets of data are not related. Many factors affect the increase in these two areas. As the demand for more roadways, airports, and water and sewage treatment plant grows, the demand for more civil engineers also increases. But an increase in the per capita consumption of mozzarella may be related to increased pizza sales or a dairy production. Both variables are affected by a general increase in population. So see, there is something between them. They both happened because the population is increasing, but they didn't cause each other, okay? So the data exhibit a correlation, but there is no causation. All right, so determine whether the data illustrate a correlation or a causation. Okay, so here, this is another one. Sunscreen sold, sunglasses sold. All right, well, as sunscreen goes up, so do sunglasses. But they don't cause each other. They're both caused by summer, okay? And since summer gets more intense, the more intense summer gets, the more sunscreen and sunglasses you sell. So the data definitely show a positive correlation. As one goes up, the other goes up. But it's not a causation, okay? They don't cause each other. Okay, correlation and causation by situation. Determine whether the situation illustrates a correlation or a causation. Explain your reasoning, including other factors that might be involved. A university experiment showed a negative correlation between the average weekly time spent exercising and the probability of developing heart disease. The situation models causation. Now they're saying this one thing does cause the other. Okay, it makes sense. The more you exercise, the less likely you are to have heart disease. So exercise and heart disease are related, and lack of exercise could be a cause of heart disease. There are other factors to consider, like inherited traits, smoking, or a poor diet. But yes, there definitely is a connection between exercise and heart disease. So that can be called a causation. It's not the only cause, but it is a cause. All right, so I think I've come to the end here. I got a couple of little funnies for you. The little boy's saying correlation does not imply causation. I think he probably did it. I'm thinking so. Over here, everybody who went to the moon has eaten chicken. And this guy says, chicken makes you go to the moon. All right, so the secret word is going to be, I'm going to ask you, what has everyone who's gone to the moon done? And you're going to have to know they've eaten chicken. Okay. That brings us to the end of this video. I hope you had a great time. Make sure you study a lot because math causes you to make money. All right. Have a great one, and I'll see you guys in the next video.